Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Bill Robinson, Chair of the UNLV Faculty Senate. I'm going to read. I should have my glasses on and have all that, but until they get AI that just can get blank them out of the video, you're just going to have to put up with this. May I request your attention and silencing of your phones for the presentation of the colors by the UNLV Honor Guard, followed by our national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ring, the monsters sing in the
to our vocalist, Isabel Ferguson, a first-year soprano master of music student in vocal performance in the School of Music. Chandler White, a master student in percussion studies from the School of Music and the UNLV Joint Air Force and Army ROTC National Guard. I'd like to recognize some key groups in the audience today. We have fabulous members of the Board of Regents and our beloved interim chancellor of the Nevada System of Higher Education. We also have representative from Governor Lombardo's office, as well as state legislators and a host of elected local officials from various jurisdictions. We also have staff representative from our Nevada congressional delegation. Thank you all for coming and for supporting UNLV. Additionally, we have several members of the UNLV Foundation Board with us, business and community leaders, as well as members of the President's Cabinet, a former UNLV president, deans, faculty, staff, and students. I've been Senate Chair 4 times, and this is the first time I've had a time restriction. So I'm gonna try to talk really fast for you all and get in that which I wish to say. The first thing I wish to talk to you about is free speech. Every right that we have comes with it a responsibility. There are no unfettered rights, there are no unlimited rights. We have a responsibility. When we exercise our right of free speech, we have a responsibility to make sure we are not stepping on someone else's right of free speech. We have a responsibility to exercise our right with respect, with dignity, with an understanding of the human beings that we are interacting with. We also have a responsibility to listen to the other points of view and to take those points of view and actually consider what those people are telling us and why they're telling us and why they feel that way. It's very important to me that we all treat each other with respect and dignity. And if that can't exist on a university campus, then it can't exist anywhere. We are the bastions of we have been through, and President Whitfield has been through the worst 4 years, and sorry, but the worst 4 years we've had, between pandemics, between what we went through October and November, and then the horror of December 6th. Where we are and where we need to be right now is thinking about two important things. One is the safety infrastructure on this campus. We cannot, under any circumstances, open the doors in the fall and not have made significant and obvious improvements that help the safety of our faculty, staff, and students. We cannot guarantee the faculty and staff and students that they are safe on our campus, but do not do everything we can to make sure that they are as safe as we possibly can be. And to say, if we say this, that we don't have the money, we're waiting for the legislature or the governor, we're waiting for, no, we have to act. And maybe even more important than that, we know the mental health issues that so many of our faculty, staff, and students face. And I keep using the example of Starbucks. Go downstairs, lunchtime, biggest class day of the week. I walked into Starbucks, there was no one in line. That line curves around and out and into the hallway on a normal day. There is no one in line. The students are not part of our institution right now, and we need to make them back, feel comfortable, feel safe. On top of that, we know the other issues that we've had on campus of safety. We have to make sure that regardless of faith, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of where you come from, regardless of your identity as a human being, that you can walk on our campus feeling safe, feeling comfortable in whatever identity you are, whether your identity is based on your faith, whether it's based on your orientation. That is another fundamental value that we must hold, and we must make sure that our students and our faculty and staff are absolutely comfortable in their skins on our campus. It is critical. And I don't know anything else we need to talk about but those issues of free speech and those issues of safety on our campus, the full issues of free speech and safety on our campus. That's where we need to be, and that's what we need to be talking about. I think I did it. President Keith G. Whitfield is the 11th president of UNLV and is in his 4th year. I'm grateful to the Board of Regents that they renewed his contract for another 4 years and gave us the opportunity to keep our team together, the team that's led the university for those last several months. The president, our provost, our VP of Student Affairs, our brand new CFO who had no clue what he was walking into. Teamwork makes a university. It's the team that makes it, the deans. All of the assistant and associate and whatever that we always make fun of because seems like there's more of them every day. It's the team that makes sense of this. And that team includes the 30,000 students and the 5,000 faculty and staff. Everything we do has to be together, has to be, I talk about this tapestry that we are, and the board has enabled us to not have huge uncertainty in the middle of this time, and I'm very grateful for that. So, he's hiding here somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, President Whitfield.
Good afternoon. You've learned. It only took you 4 years. It is wonderful to be here with you. Bill Robinson, thank you very much, because what you did was you were vulnerable and you showed your heart. And it's that heart that we have amongst our faculty and staff and our students that makes this a special place. So thank you very much. Actually, let's give a round of applause. But I don't know, Bill, I was listening to you and I was like, well, gosh, do I want another 4 years? He was talking about the worst 4 years and a pandemic. And you know, it's funny. I've always thought that I fit here. When I was interviewing for this position, I could imagine myself here. And the longer I've been here, the more I feel like I actually fit here. And so even with all of those trials and tribulations that you talk about, actually, kind of in a way, I'm built for it. I could tell you 1,000 reasons why, but I have to get through a bunch of stuff today. But I really want to thank you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to be the leader of this university. It comes at a time where lots of things are going on in the world, lots of things are going on campus, but it's my belief, and I see it every day, that actually we're doing well. We're doing well despite all of those things. That, I think, is just kind of cool. Through the process of being renewed, and thank you, Board of Regents, for renewing me. Again, I'm listening to Bill, and but I'm very glad to be renewed. And through that process, actually, a lot of your voices actually came in a report that I saw. And I got to tell you, thank you. Everybody said all the nice things. Thank you for all the other people that said other things. And I still am a researcher. I still actually write papers. I've already gotten a paper this year. You go through a process of critical evaluation of what you say, what you do, what you think. And so one of the things over the years of having been a faculty member is that I know how to take that and think about ways to integrate it. So your feedback is actually very important. You will see things that we're going to try to even make even better in this next 4 years. I also want to say that one of the reasons why I think I fit here is because I think of the values of this university, and Bill talked about them. They are about inclusiveness, about belonging, about commitment to making sure that we hear other people. I think he said it very accurately when he talked about part of the responsibility of having free speech is that you allow others to have free speech and that you take a moment to think about that other person. That's what we do as a university community. That's why we are UNLV Strong, is that we do try to listen to others. We welcome everyone. I try to make it a big point of saying that diversity is everybody. Sometimes when we talk about diversity, I've met people that said, wow, so it's that group, but what about me? I'm different. My point is diversity is everybody. It's not just one group. We may highlight them, we may celebrate them, but that doesn't mean that everybody should be a part of that celebration. That's how we should roll. So, I got 4 more years. Looking at the calendar, flipping around, thinking, this is just exciting. But it's in part because the job's not done. There's more stuff we're going to do. And it is this great university. We were talking actually with a leadership group of mine today and talking about how much is going on at this university. And that there is still much more to do. And we're going to make some changes. And we're going to go with the energy and the excitement and all the things that are going on in our city, in our region, our state, in this country. And we're going to continue to be leaders. Now, you might have seen our little quote up there. Some of you all aren't even old enough to know about Back to the Future. That just blows my mind because that's an iconic movie. And there's this great quote from it that the future is what we make of it, so make a good one. We have the ability to make our future. And we have done that and articulated it through Top Tier 2.0 vision. That is also just the foundation. It's not the rest of what we're going to build. So we have to make sure that we think big, that we think in uninhibited ways. One of the things that I hope the most for our students is that we figure out, we got the best faculty here. We got to figure out how to teach them how to fail. I know that goes against what you think, but we got to teach them how to fail. Because you fail, and then you get the opportunity to try again and to succeed. That means that you have to sometimes think a little bigger and take risks. We can do that as a university, we can do that, and we can teach that to our students. And as we do it, we're going to kind of develop new roads when necessary. Back to the Future, they don't need roads, remember? Okay? And one of the things that is on the road that we've been on is December 6th. And I don't want to overstate this, but when it's happened and, a lot of you all have interacted with my leadership and not even had a chance to interact with me, but I have my little job that I do, and one of the things that I've done is to be able to talk to the presidents of the universities, other people at the universities who have had similar incidents happen. And I can tell you that as you look at some of their timelines, we're not there yet, but we're not doing bad. And I honestly believe that it's because we've come together as a community. That is our strength. You have to remember that. That strength is going to be able to propel us to continue to recover. And part of that recovery is what I have provided for you through something called Rebel Recovery. There's lots of things going on with Rebel Recovery. Bill alluded to just a couple of them that are going on. But there is a request for funding, actually through the chancellor and through the board. I'm actually surprised she's here because she is always talking about how she's, going to get to the governor and talk to the governor and have an opportunity to really tell our story, not only as UNLV, but even for all of our NC institutions. So we have that request for funding. I want to dovetail again on something that Bill said, and that's one of the things that we're doing is that safety is first. And so for some of our funding, we're trying to make sure we use insurance and talk to the governor, to everything that we can to be able to try to get to a place where we feel, and I want to be careful with this word, safe. We live in a world that's a dangerous world in some ways. And there are risks that we take just by walking out of our door. So we have to be careful of thinking that we're going to be safe, everything's going to be fine. I think the closer we get to being fine is basically the more that we act like a community and that we're together. It's the reason why I called one of the pieces for Rebel Recovery Campus security and safety. That security we can actually build and really work on as a community. That is an incredible committee. I want to give special thanks to Maggie Farrow for leading that. It's 17, 18 people. They've already made even subcommittees, talking about different issues that we can think about and pursue as we go forward. I do believe that by the end of the semester we'll have something to be able to share with you, some of their preliminary thoughts, but it's not going to end there. It's going to take time. They're researching new technologies, different ways to think about how we actually have locks for doors, how faculty maybe could control the lock for their door by their phone. There's folks working very, very hard on that point. Another group that's working very hard on the Rebel Recovery is our Faculty Senate. And they are taking the lead on being able to create a faculty memorial. That's to the point of saying we're not going to forget December 6th, but we're not going to let it define us and we're not going to let us hold us back. Bill, I think you just gave my talk, Bill. Now I'm going to another Bill point. If you know me, my background's in psychology. I actually write things on cognitive aging and mental health in African Americans. And so I will say I don't think any of the regents are here, but I don't think any of my fellow presidents are here. One of the things that they heard from me during the pandemic was constantly mental health, mental health, mental health. So occupational hazard, I'd have to say it anyway. So it made a very easy way to think about mental health issues that we will have on our campus after the tragic incident that we had. And so we have to think about mental health, and we have to think about not only mental health, but well-being, how we take care of ourselves, how we even help to take care of each other. You've heard me say before, every now and then when you see somebody, ask them how they're doing. I'll tell you a very quick story. We had a healing ceremony out here at Vita Plaza. It's fantastic. Our Native American community came and did just, it did something for me. It was really wonderful. But as I was standing back listening, this young man came up and he said, "Aren't you the president of the university?" And every now and then I kind of say no, because I know somebody's going to ask me something. But I said, "Yeah, yes, I am." And he said, "Thank you." He said, "I really needed this." And I looked at him and I said, "Are you okay?" And he kind of put his head down and said, "Yeah." And I said, "Excuse me, are you okay?" And he started crying. And I thought it was just such a weird kind of entry point to be able to then talk to him, and then actually escorted him over and had him talk to somebody who was a mental health professional who happened to be there. So we can do those kinds of things. They're simple things, but they're big things, and they make a difference, and we have to continue to do that. Our mental health and well-being experts that we have on this campus, Michelle Paul, Jamie Davidson, I get his name wrong, have really been working overtime trying to figure out all the things that are needed. There's tons of things going on. Please go see Rebel Recovery, or is it UNLV Strong? UNLV Strong, and you'll see the Rebel Recovery program so that you can keep informed on the things going on. We have been trying to occasionally, every 2 weeks, send you out something just to give you an update, just so that you know what's going on. Maybe there's something that you need. Because recovery from a traumatic incident does not happen. You recover and then everything's fine. You could be fine and then something trigger you and you actually have struggles. And so we're going to keep doing that. We're only 3 months, imagine it. We're only really 3 months since that incident. And we have to take the philosophy that we're really going to have it so that we leave no rebel behind. Everybody's going to come with us as we move forward in the future, and that we're successful. And honestly, we'll be able to do that by working together. So, you may see a slightly different format. I'm just getting up here and kind of talking. But I got to tell you, I'm going to insert just little things. They're not things that Vince tried to have me say. I keep adding stuff to it. But what I find fascinating is, listen to these statistics. Our spring enrollment is 29,000 students. It is a historic high. It's a historic high because typically from fall to spring, what happens is that you lose students, partly because they graduate, and partly because things come up and they don't come back. We had a 95% retention rate of students from the fall to the spring. I'm wondering if you're here with me because, man, I love those statistics. That is fantastic. And the question is, how? We had this horrible thing happen. And we're getting historic numbers of students coming back and engaging with our faculty and staff. How? Might be giving credit to our Rebel Ready Week that we did, which was unbelievable, like 5,000 people out on the quad out here. Could be that, could be the other programs we have. It could be trying to make sure that we try to knock down every barrier that might be for students trying to come back to school. I think all of that is in there, but part of it too is our students. Our students are amazing. You show grit, you show determination, and the faculty and staff are here to be able to continue to foster your progress. Now, we're still looking towards the future. We're doing things to try to improve our recruitment efforts, both in our city, in our state, in our country, and even internationally. But we need to make sure that we make a place that's a fantastic place for folks to come, and we can do that in part because of the incredible partnerships that we have throughout the city. One of them that we have is with Junior Achievement. I'm a huge Junior Achievement fan. I really wish when I was younger I could have been a Junior Achievement person. It's a program that in part helps to teach students about financial literacy. And follow me here. If you're students, what's one of your biggest concerns about college? Is it the test that you have tomorrow? Yeah, it's a challenge. But bigger is actually affording it. And part of that formula is being able to make sure that we educate students to figure out how to best manage your finances in this world where I had my hand in my pocket. I'm feeling my $2.50 that I got, for re-signing up. Yeah, you're laughing because that's not true, right? But we use plastic. And in my mind, I just wonder about, do students have the same concept about money when you use it electronically versus using it and handing it out? Junior Achievement helps to teach the other kinds of skills that people need to be able to manage their finances. Now, lastly, on kind of enrollment and where we sit, we have hit a historic graduation high of 50.1%. It's funny, I made them put in the 0.1% because we weren't going to celebrate if it was just 50%. We had to, because that was one of our goals, and now, of course, our goal is to get to 60%. You should feel sorry for the leadership people because basically, whatever we achieve, I go, that's fantastic. We take about 5 seconds, and then we set the next goal. So, we're always working. Now, another part of our future that I see is our North Campus. Haven't heard about it? It's 2,000 acres, just across from the VA, way up north, way up north. Now, just to give you some size, scale, and scope, the campus that you sit on now is about 330 to 335 acres. So this is 6 times that of the possibility we had left us by Harry Reid and others. Incredible opportunity. So I've been thinking about it and thinking at least a part of it, of maybe 500 acres, to have a couple of different things we put up there. It's about 35 minutes as the crow flies from here to there. Well, so what can we actually do with that much distance? There's lots of things we can do. One of the things that we could think about doing is, graduate students in the house, Graduate student housing. Ooh. The plan is developing. You're gonna hear more about it in the future. But it is the idea that our graduate students, while actually thank you to the board for their incredible support for raising, and this is the legislature as well, for raising the stipends for our students. But with the price of everything going on, it is still difficult for them to be able to live in a comfortable way and just be able to focus on their study. So what we thought is that maybe we can attack the housing piece of it by having this incredible piece of land. So wait, that's coming. Also thinking about building an education center there. So we would have a real North Campus, a place where we can do leadership, a place that perhaps we can interact with and be able to support our people in the armed forces, particularly in Nellis Air Force Base. There's some educational things that we can do there. And the other more wild thought is the idea of having a sports rehab and aquatic center. One of the things that we all know is that, well, it was in the fall, it was happening on Sunday when you try to go up and down the 215, you're running into football traffic. I mean, we have become one of, if not the sports capital. Everybody knows that. So the question is that we as the educational institution, one of the educational institutions for this area, what can we do to intersect, interplay, capitalize, support what's going on with that growth in our city? And so a sports rehab facility would be a fantastic opportunity. I'll tell you more about it later. The real mic drop piece of this is that while we have 2,000 acres, we have incredible partners in North Las Vegas. Interestingly enough, they have 3,000 acres that sits right next door to us. And we have been having fantastic conversations with one of the most amazing mayors that exists, Mayor Pam Goings. And so if we hadn't thought big enough, if we hadn't dreamed enough before, having her as a partner has made us now, oh my gosh, how do you supersize this now? It was hard enough thinking about 2,000 acres. Now how can we figure out a way to work together to cover 5,000? It's about the future. It's about what we'll do in the future. Now for main campus, I do want to talk just a little bit about, just last week? We opened a new building, the AEB building, the Advanced Engineering Building. And that is a perfect example of rebel spirit, commitment, persistence, perseverance. And that is largely by his team and him, but Dean Rama Vincat, let's give him a round of applause. I think some people thought that it was down and out, that it was done, because during the pandemic, they pulled our funding for that. Interestingly enough, through the pandemic, it came back. Got to keep hoping. Got to keep pushing forward. That's what Dean Vincat and his team have done. There's some other places and other areas that we need to think about. One of them is the Lee Business School. There was plans to try to think about how you might envision a new business school before December 6th happened. Now, more than ever, we're trying to think about how we can advance that even further. And I think with the support of the board, I think with the support of legislators, we want to put this on the list of capital improvement projects and to see how we might be able to move that forward. Another building that we're considering is an education building. One of the primary, biggest challenges is for us to have more teachers. And I got to tell you, all of you all that are here, our K through 12 system is important for us. Don't fool yourself. Where do we get our students from? 70% of our students come from Clark County. So whatever they experience, we experience. The successes that they have, we can have. So we have to support them. And by being able to make sure we have a 21st century education building to teach 21st century lessons in style and pedagogy and all of that, that's going to benefit us. And life think is more valuable when we get time to appreciate the arts. If you go to Grant Hall, you should wear a hat so that you can make sure that you continue to be able to appreciate life. It is a tough place, and really shout out to the folks that are there and making that work for right now. We have to be committed to trying to build a new fine arts building. That building, Grant Hall, is from, I want to say it's 1958. It's one of our oldest buildings on campus. It has served its purpose. It has lived its life. It is time for us to move on. It is on our agenda. So, as one of our identities is as a research one institution. It's a very high research productivity institution. And honestly, we've been killing it, especially as of late. There is, you probably saw the announcement, there's an NSF grant that is a partnership with Arizona State University, with DRI, and with University of Utah. And it's an NSF grant that totals about $160 million. It is significant. These are very, very select ones. There's only, I want to say there was like 7 or 10 of them in the country that were given. And it's to be able to try to help industry and academic collaboration. And as you can imagine from those particular institutions, it is to focus on innovations to address Western drought. At least that's one of the areas. Another one is to be able to look at other issues around energy and sustainability. One of the interesting things around the drought piece of it is a atmospheric water harvesting program to see how that could actually work. If we put our best and brightest, we're going to make solutions to what the challenges are, and that is, of course, one of our challenges. You just don't want me on my own here. Here we go. So that's a bit about research. One of the things that we do at our university, I don't know how much you actually see sometimes, is connecting economic development with research. That's what research universities actually do very, very well, and we're getting better and better at it. We also, not only do we have that NSF grant, but we have an EDA grant that's involved in accelerating electric Nevada, trying to help create and work with and manage clean energy technology. And this is a great partnership between GoEd, between UNLV, and yes, UNR. See, remember, this is being recorded, so you need to give me a big round of applause for UNR. Come on, help me here. A big round of applause. One of the other things that we're doing, and there are actually a lot of things. I see Bo Bernhardt sitting here, and basically, if you look down, he's got skates on. He has been skating all around the county, basically, trying to figure out ways in which UNLV can actually provide what it offers, which is intellectual capital, connections with students, thinking about new ways to do things. That's what we're built in as a university. And he's been doing and leading that. But one of the things that we have really done is to be able to help generate and inspire kind of a new generation of entrepreneurs. And so to meet that need, one of the things that he and his group have been working on is something that's going to be called Scarlet Capital, which is an early stage fundraising mechanism to be able to invest in people just getting off the ground with some of their ideas. This is what happens when you create ecosystems that ultimately will benefit everybody, is that we have to be a part of it. We have to find ways to do it. And Bo and his group have done a great job at that. I'm trying to waste my time here. There we go. Okay. I really feel like I could stand up here for forever. Every now and then I miss being a professor, you know, sage on the stage, and you get to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk because you want to impart wisdom, you want to share the things going on. This is truly just a small slice of what's going on at your university. You are making it happen. You are making this place a better place. You're making our county, our state, and even in some ways the world a better place. We have to stay committed to it. All of what I've shared really shows that when we put our minds to it, there's a lot we can accomplish. But boy, some of these things, like a $160 million grant, who would have ever dreamt of that? But we have to think big. We have to always remember that as we think big too, part of the reason why we do that is to think about our students, to be able to provide them the education and training and experiences so that they can go out and make the world even better. That's why we're here. And you know, sometimes, I don't want to get in trouble, but I come down the elevator in FDH, and you come out to the little area there, and there's students just kind of milling around. And every now and then I walk a little bit slower, because I want to hear what they're talking about. I want to hear what they're doing. I want to watch them and see what are they getting out of this incredible experience at UNLV. We did something that is much easier than listening to my little story, and that's to show you a little video of the impact that UNLV makes on the lives of our students. And I think this video will reinforce my point very, very well. Video, please.
I think the thing I'm most grateful for being here at UNLV is the fact that I've been able to make a childhood dream become a reality. I've wanted to be an orthodontist since I was 8 years old, and I was recently accepted to the UNLV orthodontic residency.
What is possible is being a first-generation graduate, and not only being that inspiration for my younger family members who may not have considered college before, but also for other students who might look like me and who never thought that college was even an option.
I feel anything is possible artistically because of my time here at UNLV. We really have the most amazing faculty who have real-world experience and performance experience that you really need as a young artist to be able to succeed in the world.
UNLV and its generous partners have helped me with scholarships, which have allowed me to feel stability for once in my life. They've prepared me as a young adult, let alone cultivating a young professional that is excited to join the workforce.
Advocacy and outreach are the biggest things I've gotten out of my time here at UNLV, and there's just so many opportunities to get engaged with community partners. My time working in the research lab, I've been able to kind of learn the background of marginalized experiences to prepare myself to enter the actual workforce and engaging with those communities.
Throughout my time at UNLV, I got the opportunity to be a part of the student org called SEDS, which is the Students for the Exploration and Development of Space. And throughout my time in the organization, I've had the opportunity to be a part of major projects. And what that has done is take what I learned in the classroom and apply it to global challenges.
When I was in Montreal and I applied at UNLV, my advisor, Kamisha, suggested that instead of taking remote classes, I could maybe move to Las Vegas. And now it changed my life, and she changed my life. I am so thankful for that. I realize now that being an international and non-traditional student shows everyone at UNLV that it's never too late. Everything is possible. You just have to work hard to make your dreams come true.
I've been able to make connections with people in the workforce doing what I want to do in my future, and I've been able to work for the Golden Knights, the Raiders, and at the Super Bowl just this past week, and I've just been so grateful for literally everything.
I'm grateful for the teachers, the opportunity, changing my life, but more specifically, I am so grateful to our current president, Kate Whitfield, because he was helping me in every single way to succeed. When I had a really difficult economic situation and I almost dropped my classes, and he helped me to continue. He said, don't drop your classes, we are going to help you to succeed and get your dreams come true.
UNLV made me a greater contributor in my community.
UNLV made me a first-generation graduate.
UNLV made me strong.
UNLV made me an advocate for my community.
UNLV made me a mechanical engineer.
UNLV made me an artist.
UNLV made me a powerful woman in the sports industry.
UNLV made me feel part of the community, and now it's time for me to give back.
You know what's so amazing is that that's just the tip of the iceberg. But those are our students. They're making a difference now. They're going to make a difference in the future. All the work for you faculty and staff that are you putting in, that you do, look at what you produce. You have to have a sense of pride. You have to have a sense of hope when you see what incredible people that we have studying at this university. And speaking of incredible, one of the benefits that I have in my little position is that I get to work with other campus leaders. With Bill Robinson, with Michaela Franklin from CSUN, and also the GPSA president, Nicole Thomas. I am very honored to call her not only a colleague, but a friend that I have known really since I got here. She is everywhere. And so if you would, help me in welcoming Nicole to the stage.
Hello, my friend. Hello, President Whitfield. It's so great to see you. Thank you for involving me in this process. I'm incredibly excited to be here. I also want to congratulate you on your contract renewal. We are all incredibly excited to have you for the next 4 years. So I have a few questions for you today. Hopefully they won't be too difficult, but we'll do our best to get through a lot of different topics.
If you know Nicole, she's not going to stay to that. So let's see.
I'll be kind, I promise. Are you ready to get started?
Sure.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about the state of higher education nationally. Are you concerned about some folks questioning the value of a degree?
I am concerned about it, but it's not new. Really, and I don't want to try to give a history lesson because I'm not that good anymore at history, but when you think about, the GI Bill and what happened after World War II, that we had lots and lots of people going to college more than ever before. And as time has gone on and as technology has advanced, some people have asked, do I really have to go to college? Can't I just take this little course here and get something out of it? And rather than, shouting from the rooftops about, that's not good, what we have is good, we have to talk about the value proposition of what you do get from a college education. It's more than just getting some technical knowledge. As you saw from that example, there are students that it's not just the little work that they do, it's the other students that they work with. There's cultural and social things that in the development of a person, college provides that like nothing else. And so that's part of what we have to argue. But we have to tell our story, I think, better than we ever have before. And we have plenty to be able to back it up. So it's something that we just need to do in terms of telling our story better.
I agree with you on that one. That's definitely the purpose of higher education. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. This is something that I don't think is going away anytime soon. What impact do you think AI will have on higher education in general?
Well, it's had an impact at UNLV. I was going to say, no, it's really me. It's not the digital president. It's really me. AI is very interesting. And in some ways, it's kind of like a genie in a bottle. And we have opened up the bottle. And you're not going to be able to stick them back in. So I think particularly for higher ed institutions, it's critically important that we actually try to get our hands around both the good things and the bad things about it, ways in which we can actually provide some guideposts or guardrails for what's good and what's bad about it. But that's even going to continue to evolve. I just don't want us to think that we should just stick our head in the sand and say, well, I hope it goes away. It's not going to go away. We have the best and brightest. We should be actually taking time to think about how we can actually make it work for us rather than thinking that we're going to be a slave to it.
Whether or not we like it, I think it's going to be here to stay. Let's move to a more local perspective. In terms of the future of BEH after the incident on December 6th, what's going to be happening with that building?
There's going to be some decision points coming up relatively soon. I wish they could be farther out because I want to make sure that we're ready to really use and activate BEH again. But we'll be talking to the faculty and staff who work there, trying to figure out what we're going to do in terms of trying to bring it back online. But there's still a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work in terms of even some of the infrastructure of BEH just to make sure that we get it to a place where we can think that it's a safe place. Because we've done things like, technology around locks, around video. There's lots of things to think about. It's going to be a hard decision, I can tell you that. Because I want to make sure that we don't make anybody uncomfortable. And that's a tall order to fill. But it's a huge building. It has a huge footprint. I just can't imagine having a big crane coming and trying to knock that down. We also won't have the business building probably for, if we take a real good run at it, for 4 years. So we've got to think about how we actually can use that in other sorts of ways. And so we'll be engaging and trying to figure that out.
Well, as a student who is here on December 6th, I do appreciate the time and thought that you're putting into this decision. I know it probably didn't come lightly. I know this might be a bit of a sensitive topic, but do you have any updates on the faculty member, the 4th faculty member that was injured on that day? Hopefully some positive news?
We do. He is improving daily. He's in rehab now, and he's not in the hospital anymore. He's out of the hospital. But one thing that I occasionally get asked for is that people ask who it is. And he wants to have his privacy for right now, and I think that we should respect that. The provost, our director of public services, have really been, and actually Erica Smith from HR have done everything that they can, both for the families of the faculty that we've lost and for him as well, of trying to figure out ways in which we can provide for them any support that they need. And they have done an absolutely incredible job. Actually, please join me in thanking them as well.
I'm really happy to hear that. It's good news. In terms of campus safety, we've gotten a lot of questions, both from faculty and students alike, regarding the unhoused population on campus. This is something that I care deeply about because I don't want us to be part of the problem. I would like for us to be part of the solution. What can you talk about in terms of maybe having UNLV be a part of that solution, and what progress can we make for that?
I'm smiling because it almost sounds like she's going to do it, so I was just going to leave it to her. But I think you've got the right attitude. First and foremost, that all people who are precariously housed or homeless are not dangerous. We have to get that stigma away from it. We do have to think about the kinds of things that actually keep people homeless. There is issues like mental health. There's issues that are financial issues. There's lots of things that go on. And we, in the past, have dealt with that situation very internally. And I think that it probably got us a little bit down the road. But the homeless issue we have is not coming from our university. It's coming to our university, meaning it's coming from our community. And so, honestly, this is it's on my to-do list. I had been working and trying to develop how we could actually involve and engage our community. And then the fall has been, a heck of a time. But I'm going to get back to it here very shortly to try to allow UNLV to be what we should be in a lot of different ways. We should be the platform for having discussions on mental health, on homelessness, on lots of different issues. And what I want to have us do is for us to kind of be the platform to have conversations and discussions, to be able to connect together nonprofits that are working in the space, to be able to talk to our legislators and see what kinds of thoughts they have in terms of support, and to see if we can think about some innovative ways that we can try to address the homeless state.
I'm appreciative of that. I think we have a lot of fantastic community partners that we could work with and hopefully be a part of that solution. So thank you for that answer. I frankly wish we could talk about that all day, but we have other topics to cover. In terms of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, these are topics that many higher education institutions have been grappling with and working with and hopefully making advances in. What has UNLV done under your tenure, and what can we look forward to under the next 4 years?
We've done several things, but it is another job that is not done. Bill Robinson brought it up. There was an issue situation that happened at our board meeting, and during that time, all I could think about was at UNLV, we have a certain set of values, and we will be like a ship in a turbulent ocean if we don't stay with those values. Our values are to be able to respect others and to be able to make sure that we treat others the way that we would treat others. I'm doing a poor job at summarizing them, but we have a bunch of values. And one of them is a value around diversity. as I said before, diversity is not one color or one religious group or one sexual orientation. It's all of us together. And we have to continue to celebrate that. We've been trying to celebrate that more and more. Keith Rogers, who's our Vice President for Student Affairs, has really been helping our student groups and even in terms of our programming to make sure that we highlight that diversity at all times. You know, the other piece of the puzzle is about faculty and about staff. And given, you probably didn't recognize this, but I'm actually a black guy. So when I got here, I wanted to say, well, how many black faculty are here? And I saw the number and I said, well, it's not great, but it's not bad. And then I asked the other question. I said, well, how many tenure-track black faculty do we have? Went down. And so that has been something that the provost has been charged with working on. Our chief diversity officer has been charged with working on. We've got things like the search advocate program, which I think is having an effect. We did increase pretty significantly in the last hiring that we did in terms of hiring people of color. There's just more to do. One of the ways in which I've committed us, and by we, I mean we, is to join a group that's called the HSRU, the Hispanic Serving Research Universities. It's 21, soon to be 22 institutions that are research institutions that have high, that are Hispanic serving institutions. And we've been talking about what kinds of ways you can actually put a dent on being able to increase the pipeline of Hispanics that are coming through and getting jobs in, getting education in higher ed, and hopefully bringing them into higher ed, into the professoriate. That's going to take some time, and I hope none of them are listening to this, but we're not going to wait for what it'll take a giant organization to do. We're going to do some things here locally. We're going to encourage our faculty to be able to work and try to get minority supplements to help support creating places for graduate students. I think, too, I come back, it's a good thing that they're here since I'm talking about them so much, our board, who approved our ability to increase our salaries by 12% and then by 11%. Give them a round of applause. That action, and it's not a single action, but that action is going to be able to make us more competitive because there's not, an overflowing number of people of color, diverse folks who are in the professoriate. You got to compete for them. Now, we're a great place to be, and I helped with one recruitment right before all of this happened. And I was so upset because the person was saying, well, I really like it there, the faculty would be great, it's just, it's the salary. And I said, well, how far are we off? We did the math, it was about 12%. If we'd had 12%, we would have had this amazing person here. This is what's going to change when we can get some of our financial legs up underneath us, because that was a huge change in how we actually fund the university and all of our activities. But we will get to the point where we will be doing rigorous hiring again. And that ability to be able to actually compete in the market and the great place that this is going to make us more successful.
Thank you for that answer. As an educational psychologist, you're talking about a lot of really promising practices, so I appreciate you doing that. Speaking of, diversity, I hear that there's a new multicultural center potentially opening up within the SU. I know the student union and the student affairs team have been really hard at work kind of getting an SU remodel done. Is there anything that you could share about that?
Yeah, it really is. It's not even just around diversity. It is, our student union is going to be redesigned of how it flows, the kind of food that's there. I hate Jamba Juice. It closes at like 2 o'clock. How do you close at 2 o'clock? But there's going to be other vendors that are in there. I don't have the list of names for them, but we're going to have other vendors that really went through a very rigorous process. Again, thank Keith Rogers and his team for doing that, of trying to figure out the kinds of foods and the kind of opportunities that students want. So that, for the most part, will be on the first floor. I want to say that it's on the second floor. We're going to do a redesign to be able to provide a place to have a cultural center. That we're ranked often, if not the first, second in terms of undergraduate student diversity in this country. It is a shame that we do not have a cultural center. And what I will say is that there's a great plan for it. It is being worked out. It is going to be, I think, highlighted and shown to students so that we can kind of get, not proof of concept, but making sure that we're hitting the kinds of things that students think that they want to see and want to try to have. But that's something that we just have to have. We have to have a place that is one of the places on campus, because it doesn't need to just be the only place, but one of the places on campus that we actually celebrate and support diversity. Right now, we have a couple little places. We have things like the intersection and other places, but we need to have a centralized place, and then be able to make sure that that represents all of our campus, that is just one place, but it's going to represent all of our campus, that we are a diverse place, and that we celebrate that diversity. So we'll see what the timeline looks like. Again, it's really been the safety and security that we put as really the lead, and that this is something that comes in a close second, but we've got to do this other piece first. And hopefully in the next year to 2 years, you're going to be seeing that. So keep your eye out for all of the thousands of emails that we'd like to send you.
Well, I read every one of them. I'm excited about that. Thank you for that. Shifting gears a bit, I'd like to talk about our international student population. UNLV has been working towards the Globalization Initiative, and I'm curious as to what steps we've made to support our international student population.
We've made some great strides. Actually, Kate Corrigan and her team have been doing a couple of critical things. One is to have recruiters that are not here. They're in other places, in lots of different places in the world. But one of the other pieces that's absolutely critical, and I think that there's been some good progress made with this, and we probably still need to do more, is that once an international student decides to come here, if you can imagine coming to some place where the language is your second language, you've maybe only seen great videos of it, and you don't really know anybody, but you're coming because you know you'll get a great experience, you know you'll get a great education here. That can be very isolating and very lonely and very scary. And so one of the things that they've been doing is actually making sure that by the time they land, that we're already there, and that we're bringing them to the university, and that we're making sure that we show them all of the different things that are here, the other kinds of support systems that are here. That additional support is what's going to, it's going to take a little while, but it's getting momentum already. We have grown in our international students a bit. But that's what's going to make this a place where that diversity is not even just, I don't want to say it's traditional diversity, but diversity in terms of cultures. That's what's going to continue to make this place a special place, is that not only are we going to be known in Nevada and in the United States, but we'll be even better known in the world. And we've had previous work that we've done around the world, and I think bringing it together both in terms of the students that we bring, but also in terms of the academic programs and partnerships that we make with universities in Guadalajara, Mexico, and in Seoul, Korea, and all around the world. All of those things are starting to happen because we have these amazing faculty that are reaching out, and actually people are reaching out to them because of the amazing work that they were doing. So all of that, the international student piece is a piece of a bigger puzzle to actually grow our international presence, and that's what great universities ultimately have. That's what that's where we're headed to and where we're going to be.
That is good to hear. I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our graduate college team. They work incredibly hard for this, so want to thank them. Shifting gears again, I have a couple more questions for you. In terms of sustainability, it's no secret that Las Vegas is a very dry climate. What is UNLV doing to, once again, be a part of a solution? I know we have a climate action plan that's been in the works. Could you talk to us more about that?
Yeah. The climate action plan, hopefully we'll have a draft of it by May. But I'll tell you, answering big problems, big issues like that is going to take commitment, and it's going to take dollars. It's going to take our commitment to doing things differently. Musa Palm out of facilities is leading that group, and I'm very excited to see what's going to come out of that. As you see too, one of the things that is an interesting interwoven piece of what we're doing and who we are is that the NSF grant is to deal with sustainability, and so we're going to be able to have a footprint there. We're going to be able to have advances made, not only be from the kind of practical practices that one does, but also in terms of science. And so I think that together is going to be able to advance that cause.
That's good to hear. I'm looking forward to the plan. once again, I think I would be remiss if I did not talk about sports. Our athletics teams have been doing fantastic, and yes. So this July, we've heard that you will be ascending to the chair of the Mountain West Board of Presidents. What can we look forward to with your new role?
Trouble. Nothing but trouble. First two, I want to give a shout out to one. You got to see it online. Our football coach actually rode a bull. I was just watching his melon. I wanted to make sure he was going to be okay because he's such a smart guy, and that was a huge bull. That was exciting, and just a shout out to him. Shout out to our basketball teams, and particularly for women's sports. I am such a fan of Lindy LaRoe. And our men's basketball team make games very exciting. But in the role as chair of the council of presidents, whatever we call it, what I want to bring to it is one thing. There is work that we've got to do right now. As you've seen, there's been conference realignment. There's lots of things going on. I'm trying to be careful about saying this because I want to be very careful and sensitive to what my colleagues do. But I want to make sure, and I think the Mountain West is very focused on making sure that we think of the student athlete first, not about the dollars that go along with it. A lot of that restructuring was done because of financial advantages that one might be able to have. But I can't help but to think that there's going to be some compromise in terms of the well-being for student athletes, and I think that's what we're focused on. Some other things that I'm interested in having done, and partly it was, I wasn't always at UNLV, I was at other schools before, and at one of them in particular, in one conference in particular, it wasn't just about the athletics. It's about what athletics actually gives to our lives, particularly as faculty and staff. And so there was a leadership program there, and I want to kind of make a similar sort of example out of the Mountain West, where we can learn from our colleagues, be able to have shared experiences and shared collaborations that go across our universities. Also be able to provide opportunities for students to be able to have internships maybe at other places. You know, it goes across sports, but only about 2% of college athletes actually are able to go pro. So that's 98% who are not. We need to make sure that, one, they're having a great experience, and they have been doing an unbelievable job in terms of their GPA. I think it's the highest ever. But we need to make sure that it's not just about when they're here. What are we setting them up for their future, no matter what it may be, whether it's to go into pro sports, or maybe it's to go into sports, or maybe it's to just do other sorts of things. I think through internships and other opportunities, we can do that as a conference. I say with a little bit of boldness that, hey, we're the West now. You know, it's only the Pac-2. So we're the West now. So we need to be able to show and demonstrate what, through all of the markets that are there, because it's still about television revenue and other sorts of things, of what a great benefit it is to actually have the Mountain West and the confederation of incredible schools that we have in there. And so maybe you were going to mention it, but I have been serving on the college football playoff program, and I am very happy to say that I will be rolling off of it as I become the board chair, because that is between name, image, likeness, the portal, and the college football playoff. College sports is just very, very complicated. That's the nice way to put it. It's very complicated right now. And we've been making some very good decisions. We have an incredible leader that's going to take over the CFP, who is General Richard Clark from the Air Force Academy. And I believe that he's going to help try to right some of the shit that's going on, but it is the wild, wild west now. We'll see how it's going to play out. We just have to stay strong in terms of being a very good conference who, you know, we don't have to be best buddies because we compete with one another, but we have to have a sense of cohesiveness and strength that comes from having been a group that's together. So that's some of the things that you should be looking forward to.
Well, I am. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. As we wrap up today, I want to remind the audience that we do have a reception following this. So for those of you in person, please feel free to join us outside. For our faculty and staff who would like to ask questions of their own, We will have a town hall style kind of format in mid-April, is that correct? Okay, perfect. So that's going to be an all-hands meeting. Highly encourage you all to attend. I just wanted to honestly thank you for your leadership as president. UNLV has been such a special place to me in my education, first-generation college student. So genuinely, I'm so excited to have you around here. You've really made a difference in lives that I think you frankly don't even know. So thank you. As we wrap up, any final thoughts or maybe words of wisdom, things that you're excited about that you'd like to share?
Well, one thing I want to share. Wait for it. Get very excited. So we have Barrick Lecture. The Barrick Lecture Series, to me, it's very, very special. We have been able to bring Deepak Chopra. We've been able to bring these incredible voices to our campus. And we didn't have one in the fall. You know, we usually have them in the fall or the spring, or the fall and the spring. We didn't have one in the fall, but we have decided for one for the spring. We're going to be welcoming Magic Johnson. That's going to be on April 18th, so mark your calendars, get your tickets, because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of people want to be there. If you follow the news, Magic Johnson just became a billionaire not too long ago, and so I'll be standing very close to him, and hopefully he'll be so tall I can just, reach in and try to see if I can find that checkbook. But I think we're going to continue the history of that, and it's another way in which we actually make our university environment community one that is vigorous and live and really something that's exciting. I just want to close by thanking all of you all. Thank you for your support of me. Thank you for your support of the university. It's been a year like no other. Truly, it's been a year like no other. And while we are never going to forget December 6th, it's always going to be a piece of our history. But that is not going to stop the trajectory of this university. So I try to explain to lots of people is that while we're dealing with this horrific crisis that happened, the university has continued on. We still taught classes. We're still graduating students. We're doing all of these things in the community. So it's still going on, and then you add this to it. And it's not stopped us. It's made us thought. It's made us hopefully appreciate all the wonderful things that we have here, but it's not stopped us. It's not going to stop us. I am your president. I am your president, which means to some degree you're supposed to listen to me, although, yeah, you're laughing just like I'm laughing about that. But you can believe this. We are going to be stronger coming out of this. We are not going to let that define us. It is going to be something that makes this campus better in the lives of our students, in the lives of our faculty and staff, in the lives of our community, in the lives of the world. I hope you get that when I say something that means it, I mean that, and I know it, I see it, I get to see it every day. I hope you get to see it. I hope we get a chance to share with you more and more about what the difference that this university, that this community of university actually makes in making the world a better place. It's that we have to make sure we keep moving forward. Just because you remember something, just because you memorialize something, doesn't mean that that keeps you from moving forward. We will move forward. We continue to ascend to new heights. And following our theme today, even if there aren't roads, we're going to move forward in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for coming today. Thank you. Good to see you. Very glad. What's that? Oh man, you don't know.